In the veiled histories of Azeroth, amidst the sinister tapestry woven by the old god's Black Empire, there exists a relic from ancient times, Xal'atath. Born from the primordial chaos of that bygone era, this mysterious artifact transcends mere mortal understanding. One thing to know is that Xal'atath is a sentient void entity that became bound in the dagger we find in Legion, and then went on to possess a high elf body, but back to her beginning. Within the darkened corridors of power, when the Black Empire held sway over existence itself, there emerged a figure of profound dread, Dementius the All-Devouring. It was he who, in a gesture of dark communion, bestowed upon Xal'atath a weapon of unparalleled age and potency, the Voidsong Staff. There isn't much known about the Voidsong Staff, but you can get a little insight to its past when you visit an orc known as the Twilight Hermit within Xal'atath, who knows of the weapon and says, "Do you have any idea how ancient that weapon you wield is? There was a time when this whole world was ruled by the Black Empire. It was beautiful. The masters bestowed gifts upon their faithful. That stave was one such instrument. It was given to the Harbinger, so that one day she might... What? No, I was not going to tell them. The orc goes silent as if chastised by some unseen presence. In the hands of Xal'atath, the Void Song became an instrument of chaos, a conduit through which the will of the old gods reverberated across the cosmos. Its very existence bore witness to the depths of depravity that defined an empire built upon whispers of madness and tyranny. So while it is evident that it was powerful and used for unknown purposes other than obviously to further the Black Empire's goals, I don't see anything talking about it being used by Xal'atath or anything more important than the fact that Dementius gave it to her way back when. Whispers dance in the shadows of lore, weaving tales as diverse as the stars above. Some weave a tapestry where the blade, Xal'atath, is a vestige of an ancient old god, devoured by its own kind in a primordial clash. Others dare to suggest it bears the essence of Y'Shaaraj's very claw. Yet amidst the cacophony of speculation, one truth remains unquestionable. The blade is suffused with the dread power of the gods. Legends, like threads spun from the loom of time, speak of its uncanny ability to unveil the secrets of the Black Empire, unfurling visions that ravage the minds of those who dare to peer too deeply. Xal'atath, a wanderer through the ages, has whispered seductive promises of dominion and destruction into the ears of mortals, leaving chaos in its wake. It found purpose in the hands of the jungle troll Xandu, breathing life into the fallen Cathrax general Kithix, and in the grip of sorcerer Thane Therasin's wife, Madgood, it cast a bitter curse upon Grim Batal. Through the ages it danced through the fingers of human priestess Natalie Celine, a conduit to the abyssal depths of the void, where secrets darker than midnight awaited her examining. Thus the saga of Xal'atath unfolds, a saga of power coveted and wielded, of destinies twisted and fates entwined, and in its silent, the chilling reminder that some relics are best left untouched. For the abyss stares back with eyes of infinite hunger. In the grand theater of fate, the knife known as Xal'atath embarked in yet another chapter of its dark odyssey. A relic of otherworldly power, it fell into the clutches of the Twilight's Hammer, disciples of chaos and heralds of Twilight's embrace. Their nefarious aim was to resurrect Zakash the Corruptor, a being entwined in the scrolls of ancient lore, felled by the hand of Tyr in the distant past. Yet fate's threads are seldom predictable. For the High Priest of the Netherlight Temple emerged as a startling presence in this dark narrative. By the way, the High Priest is the player character. With a will tempered in the crucible of divine resolve, they wrestled the blade from the grasp of the Twilight's Hammer, claiming it as their own. In a conflict that reverberated across the cosmos, the High Priest wielded Xal'atath as a scythe against the encroaching tide of the Burning Legion. During battle amidst the sands of Xal'atath, they harnessed its potent energies to cleanse the sword of Sargeras, that accursed blade whose very touch dripped with corruption. Thus, in a convergence of destinies, the blade that once whispered malevolent promises found itself wielded as a force for redemption, and in the fight of its wielder's resolve, it shed the vestiges of its dark past, becoming a beacon of hope amidst the encroaching shadows of oblivion. Now at the end, where we drained the power of the Legion weapons, while the majority of the power was drained from the weapons to cleanse the sword, Xal'atath was very much still alive within the dagger and wanting to be set free. Now we jump forward in time to the Battle for Azeroth expansion, and with N'Zoth waking up and coming into the fold. In the wake of the chaos brought on by demonic hordes, Xal'atath, still within the blade, found himself adrift in the currents of fate. Lost or perhaps forsaken by the High Priest who once wielded it, it became a coveted prize for the Naga, As the Naga's sinister plans were revealed, casting shadows upon the lands of Koltiris and Zandalar, the blade became a harbinger of dread. The blade was stumbled upon by chance, discovered near a makeshift altar amidst the verdant expanse of Stormsong Valley. Adventurers, drawn by whispers of intrigue and danger, sought to harness the blade's arcane insights. Xal'atath, with its whispering voice of ancient wisdom, revealed the Naga's nefarious plot, a cataclysmic storm intended to cleanse Azeroth of life's touch. To achieve this apocalyptic vision, the Naga coveted 3 relics: the Voidstone, the Trident of Deep Ocean, and the Tempest Collar. Empowered by the blade's haunting influence, the adventurer journeyed into the depths of Drustvar, where the tendrils of darkness intertwined with the ancient magic of elvenkind. There, they confronted the High Elf Inannis, who was trying to take control of the Voidstone, but at the behest of Xal'atath, the adventurer is told to kill her. In a clash of wills and steel, the adventurer prevailed, but Xal'atath's thirst for dominion remained unquenched. Drawing upon the raw energies of the Voidstone, Xal'atath ensnared Inannis' lifeless form. While she finally had a mortal form, she was still bound to the dagger that once imprisoned her. She had to find a way to become free of the dagger, so she helped the adventurer find the final 2 relics. After acquiring the relics, their odyssey led them to the foreboding Crucible of Storms, nestled beneath the towering precipice of oblivion. Yet instead of thwarting the Naga's dark designs, Xal'atath made a change to the original plan. With a voice tinged with ancient allure, she offered the relics and the adventurer as tribute to the slumbering titan, Azeroth, in exchange for her own liberation from servitude. In a shadowy pact sealed with the essence of the void, Azeroth accepted the bargain, severing Xal'atath from her mortal vessel and claiming the blade as his own. As the tendrils of darkness receded, Xal'atath vanished through a shimmering portal, her parting words laden with cryptic certainty, promising a reunion with the adventurer in the midst of an uncertain future. Amidst the shifting sands of fate, Xal'atath emerges, her dark silhouette cloaked in the ominous aura of the Dark Heart. The Dark Heart is a mysterious artifact found by Iridikron. In the past, he harnessed the Dark Heart to gain Galakrond's power. However, his plans were almost thwarted by Chromie and a brave group of heroes. Unfortunately, their efforts were in vain as they had to divert their attention to stop Chronolord Dios. Seizing the opportunity, Iridikron escaped with the Dark Heart through a mysterious void portal. The artifact is then given to Xal'atath, leading to more adventures in the World Soul Saga trilogy. Once a mere pawn in the grand schemes of the Black Empire, she now harbors ambitions of her own, a harbinger of a new era veiled in shadow. No longer content to dwell in the ashes of a fallen empire, Xal'atath's gaze falls upon the Nerubians of Azj-Kahet, those ancient arachnoid beings whose legacy is woven into the very fabric of history. With whispered promises of empowerment and dominion, she ensnares the Nerubian queen Ansarek in her web of dark intrigue. Xal'atath offers the Nerubians a tantalizing vision, a future where they shall reclaim their rightful place as masters of the realm. In exchange for their fealty, she bestows upon them the dark gift of evolution, transforming them into formidable warriors, poised to carve their destiny with fangs bared and claws sharpened. Yet, a lone figure emerges from the depths of the void, Alaria Windrunner, her resolve unyielding as she vows to track down Xal'atath, her bow drawn taut with purpose. In ancient times, as the dragon aspects embraced the Titan's gift, the primal incarnates chose a different path, rejecting it altogether. This decision sparked growing tensions between the dragonflights and the primalists, who were determined to rid the world of what they saw as the Titan's blemish. At the heart of this seismic divide stood Iridikron, a figure shrouded in mystery. Dwelling within the shadowed recesses of Harrow's Deep, a cavern in northern Kalimdor, he made his home. His kinship with Neltharion, once as close as brothers, now a distant memory. Where once camaraderie flourished, now festered rivalry. Their intellects sharpened with an equal blend of cunning, deceit, and sheer power. It was Iridikron who unraveled the arcane veil concealing the path to elemental ascendance, discovering the elusive means by which proto-dragons could transcend their mortal bounds. Yet his ambition knew no bounds, for he sought not only to master this transformation, but to wield it as a force of dominion over his brethren. With Farak as his unwitting guinea pig, only when survival was assured did Iridikron dare tread the path himself. Thus the stage was set for betrayal and upheaval. In a clash of wills and desires, Iridikron seized the mantle of leadership, casting aside the bonds of kinship and trust. Even his own sister, Icronia, who became a member of the Black Dragonflight, got ensnared within the web of his schemes. She found herself twisted into a puppet of his grand design. With calculated precision, she became the unwitting harbinger of chaos. Her once noble purpose corrupted into a tool of propaganda against the dragonflights. Through her hands, mortal settlements crumbled, their destruction a grim testament to the depths of Iridikron's depravity. Yet behind the veil of chaos, Raszagath moved unseen, weaving shadows to cloak her true intentions. Approximately 20,000 years ago, the conflict between the Primalists and the Dragonflights escalated into a full-blown war. It all began when Raszagath initiated an attack on Neltharion and his Drakthir army in the Reach, which marked the beginning of the War of the Scaleborn. However, Raszagath was subsequently imprisoned within Froststone Vault. In response to this, Iridikron and Farak demanded Raszagath's release, but when the Aspects refused, they declared war on the Dragonflights. The capture of Raszagath and the revelation that the Dragonflights had been taking proto-dragon eggs from the wild provided Iridikron with the opportunity to persuade Viranoth to become an incarnate as well. Throughout most of the war, Iridikron strategized from his lair in Harrow's Deep, while Farak and Viranoth led the Primalist forces in the field. However, Farak and Viranoth were eventually captured, leaving Iridikron as the sole remaining incarnate. As the Primalists began to lose ground, Iridikron grew increasingly desperate and sought new allies. Despite his attempts to create new incarnates to replace his imprisoned comrades, none of them survived the process. Over the following decades, the Primalists continued to lose territory, and the Aspects' forces closed in on Harrow's Deep. In a last-ditch effort to turn the tide, Iridikron approached Agira and formed a fragile alliance with the Jarden tribes. During the intense battle between Dragonflights and Primalists near Harrow's Deep, Iridikron unleashed volcanic eruptions throughout the valley, showering the draconic armies with molten lava and rocks. However, Neltharion, utilizing his own mastery over Earth, managed to subdue the eruptions. Although all 5 dragon aspects initially entered Harrow's Deep together, they were separated by the ever-shifting stone passages, leading Neltharion to confront Iridikron alone in the deepest cavern of Harrow's Deep. In this treacherous encounter, Iridikron utilized the power of the Earth to overpower Neltharion, pushing him to the brink of defeat. Faced with imminent loss, Neltharion succumbed to the influence of the Old Gods in order to vanquish the Incarnate. Overwhelmed by the immense power of the Void, yet recognizing that this was the same method Neltharion used to defeat Raszagath, Iridikron taunted him, claiming that one day Alexstrasza would realize that Neltharion posed the greatest threat to dragonkind. Enraged, Neltharion unleashed a surging force of the Void into Iridikron's body, rendering him unconscious and subsequently imprisoning him within the Vault of the Incarnates. 20,000 years had passed when Kurog Grimtotem freed Raszagath the Storm Eater, who then plotted to release her kin from the vault. Even though Raszagath perished, she achieved her goal in setting free Iridikron, Farak, and Viranoth. Witnessing Raszagath's downfall due to haste, Alexstrasza predicted that the Incarnates would take their time to gather strength, with Iridikron's Earth Mastery providing shelter in the meantime. Farak was eager for revenge, but Iridikron insisted on balancing the scales with the Aspects first. The Incarnates journeyed to the Forbidden Reach as Raszagath's storm faded, breaching Neltharion's ancient vault to uncover a device revealing the location of Zaralek Cavern, the Earth Warden's hidden domain. While the Incarnates had no interest in Aberrus's laboratory, Iridikron saw potential in the molten fire within. Scale Commander Sarkareth and the Sundered Flame followed the Incarnates in secret, aiming to claim Neltharion's legacy. In a stunning turn of events, Iridikron made a sinister pact with the Infinite Dragonflight, seeking to obtain the very essence of Galakrond. As the adventurers and Chromie confronted the Incarnate at the site where Galakron's remains lay, a fierce battle ensued. While the heroes fought valiantly, their main objective was to provide opportunity for Chromie to destroy the artifact known as the Dark Heart, which Iridikron was using to drain Galakron's power. However, their plans took an unexpected twist when Chronoloord Dios intervened and transformed the young Nozdormu into Murozond. This turn of events forced Chromie to make a difficult decision. Instead of stopping the Incarnate, she had to travel back in time to confront Dios and prevent him from altering the course of history. This unfortunate turn of events allowed Iridikron to successfully complete his mission and escape through a mysterious void portal, carrying his coveted prize with him. After the demise of Farak and the flourishing of Amirdrasil, Iridikron reached out to Viranoth, seeking a private meeting with her. Agreeing to his request, they rendezvoused amidst the icy peaks of Aldraken. where he reproached her for abandoning the primalist cause. However, Vyranoth swiftly retorted that it was Iridikron who had forsaken the war and left Farak to perish, all for a mere trinket that Neltharion had left behind. Iridikron vehemently argued that the Dark Heart was no ordinary trinket, emphasizing that it now resided in the hands of the Harbinger. He justified his actions by placing his trust in the Void's insatiable hunger to cleanse the world of the Titan's corruption. Nevertheless, Vyranoth firmly refused to partake in his war any longer. Iridikron was left utterly disheartened and infuriated. He declared that the bond between the incarnates had come to an end. Before bidding farewell, Iridikron warned Vyranoth that she would not see him again until the Titans faced their reckoning, cautioning her to steer clear of his path. So one thing I wasn't totally sure about, I need to read the book to really understand what happens, but it says that Iridikron's sister was essentially the scapegoat and would make everyone think that the Dragonflight was responsible for the destruction since she was part of the Black Dragonflight. However, it doesn't really explain why she did it. I don't know if it was like mind control or she was maybe trying to protect someone, but it was only that she could see it. But the other thing was that Raszageth was the one causing extra destruction than what Icronia was doing. And so I'm not exactly sure how that happened, but I'll have to read the book and figure out the exact circumstances. But otherwise, I'm actually quite happy to have some knowledge of what the heck is going on in current WoW, since everything I've done is old WoW, and I've been so lost in the current story. So hopefully you did enjoy, and with all that said and done, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one. Do take care of yourself.